All right, I think we're live. There might be a strange little delay, so well, maybe we'll test that too. Because here's what I'm doing this time. So I am using Restream because that seems to be the best way to go about doing it, uh, and it seems to work good. I like the chat. Like if I send a chat, it actually goes to like every platform, and it doesn't have like a weird thing, which is just awesome. Hello. Oh, and I think I can pop things up too. Let's see. Yeah. All right, cool. The thing pops up. The only thing is for me, it's a little bit delayed because I'm streaming from my computer to Restream, and then Restream is going. So I can also do like a local camera thing. So, for example, I could. You ready? See, there's going to be two of me. Oh, look, it's two Sean's. One slightly ahead of the other. One slightly ahead of the other. And if I do this, it's probably a little bit quicker. It's probably a little bit quicker. Only downside. Only downside. If I do this method, there's like a there's like if somebody subscribes or something, there's like a something, there's like a pop-up notification, and that won't have audio. That won't have audio if I do it from here. I guess it would have audio. Like you just hear it over the speakers. Over the speakers. So like if it happens, like you might hear it through my microphone. You might hear it through my microphone. Oh, is it echoing? Oh, is it echoing? Oh, echo. Why is it echoing? Why is it echoing? Is it still echoing? It shouldn't be echoing. Now I'm confused. Did the echo stop? Oh, good. The echo stopped. I don't know. It shouldn't have been echoing. That's really bizarre. Well, anyway. Hello, everybody. We're just going to do it this way, and there will be no audio sounds that I think if like the subscriber things pop up or anything like that. There just won't be any notification. It's fine. As long as you can hear me and only once. That was weird. If like there was a bad echo. Sorry about that. But I think I can still pop up things on the screen too. Yeah. All right. Hamlet Rivera. I don't recognize the name, so welcome. And I'm glad it sounds better now. Everybody. Oh, good. Good. Everything is fine. I hope everybody is doing well. I guess it's good that we got the stuff breaking over with from the start, so you don't have to stop halfway through. So yeah, I'm glad that worked. The let's see. Yeah, this is still paid for through the end of the year, so I'm just going to use this for a while, and maybe something better will come along. But I like the multi-chat thing because I can talk to people on multiple platforms, and all the messages pop up, and that's just actually pretty cool. So anyway. Oh, and the video quality is good too. Oh, I appreciate hearing that, Mason. That's awesome. Because yeah, that was the issue last week. And what did I use last week? Did I use StreamYard last? I think I used StreamYard last week, and the video quality was really bad. And I'm actually still streaming Birdcam, my Birdtopia live stream right now, along with this. And so the video still seems to be fine. That's just awesome to hear. Oh, it looks like the stuff on the corner is updating too, like how many viewers from different platforms. That's fun. Good. I am glad. Works better for tablets too. Oh, very cool. All right. So nothing much is really going on here. There was no weekend assignment, which I'm not going to beat myself up too bad. If you were following along with like what was going on in my schedule on Friday, I recorded a podcast. Well, no, that's actually the part. I did a podcast. There were 4 of us across 3 time zones, and I prepared a lot. Here, I'll show you. I think I showed it off like lots and lots of notes about ADHD and how it works in your brain and like the chemicals involved and what's going on. And I didn't hit record. So I just talked for an hour straight. And my friends, participated, and I got nothing. So I was really upset. Although the one redeeming thing, it was my week to deep dive on something, so I'm the one that like invested all the time and like spoke throughout the whole thing, and at least it was my week that I totally screwed up, and it wasn't like somebody else who put in all the time and effort and research and like talked and talked and talked, and then I forgot to hit record. I would have felt really bad about that. Slight delay. Yeah, I expect that there is going to be a slight delay from, some places, but hopefully it's tolerable. Because yeah, I see messages pop up slightly after they're sent on different platforms, but it is what it is. Santiago, hello, welcome. Tell us neat things about wget and curl. Call it a weekend assignment. Okay, so I'll pop that up. Yeah, so the thing about wget and curl, it was one of the Linux Plus, the last one I actually did. It was one of the objective things, and curl is what I use a lot for, like scraping a web page. I'll get curl output from a web page, and then I will grep for a certain line, and then I'll use awk to chop that up into different fields, and then I'll generally get that the fine thing, the fine-tuned thing that I'm looking for, assign that to a variable, and then use that inside like of a bash script or a Python script or something. And yeah, that's what I use curl for. wget. So I don't know if anybody has ever successfully done a website mirror using wget, and I tried. So I tried with linuxjournal.com, like back 2 sales ago, I guess, back when it sold and we weren't sure if the site was going to go away and wanted to have like a local copy of it. And so I tried to dump the site using multiple website dumping tools, including wget. I never got one that looked right. So people say that they have gotten them and stuff. I just never got a full dump that actually looked right and rendered properly when I rehosted it. In fact, I bought penguinjournal.com because I was going to have my own like mirrored copy of linuxjournal.com in case it went down, because there was a time where it was going to go down and we weren't sure what was going to happen. And so, but I never got it to work right. So I know that it mirrors websites, at least simple websites, but I never got it to mirror like a complicated website really, really well. We can spend an hour discussing CIDR notation. So we could discuss quite a while trying to figure out, is it CIDR or CEDAR? Or we had, when I was at CBT Nuggets, the trainers had a little roundtable where we talked about things that what are, but you're never really sure how to pronounce them. And sorry, just opened up an AHA water. And that was one of them. I think we landed on CIDR for the way to pronounce a thing that isn't really a word. But yeah, it's one of the interesting things when you do video and or audio. Like I reviewed, oh gosh, what was it? Okay, back again in the days of Linux Journal, apparently it's Nostalgia Day, I reviewed these little speakers. And I'd say you could look it up on YouTube, but the Linux Journal channel is gone now. But they were little speakers that looked like the big tubes that come out of boats, like I don't know what they are, but it looks like that. And I reviewed them, and they were from the company LACIE, and I did not know how to pronounce it. I think I've talked about this in the live stream before, and I didn't know how to pronounce it. I didn't want to mess it up because I've known for messing it up and ticking off companies before. So I actually called the company's main line and listened to how they said the name of their company on pickup, and it's Lacey. I think Lacey. No, it's Lacey. People were saying Lacey, but it's Lacey. And so Lacey is how they said it. I think now it's been so many years, I'm doubting myself. But anyway, I had to call the company up, and that's how I was sure to do it. Same thing with SUSE Linux. It's a German-based Linux, and I didn't know how to properly pronounce that, and so I don't know how I got that one. But SUSE, also, what's the other one? Oh, is anybody old enough to remember the Linux distribution Knoppix? Most Americans would say Knoppix, but it's Knoppix. It was written by Clyde Knopper, and it's Knoppix. And so that was another one that was fun to say incorrectly and then be corrected. So yeah, it's weird when you have to say things out loud in public places because yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm already behind on comments. Ba-da-bum-bum. Bash and Bash. The question. Yeah, Bash or Python. Yeah, I use them both. I use Bash for like a quick, like if I need to automate something, and then a lot of times Python has more strength behind it, if you will. It seems to do a better job for intricate things. So I am a big fan of both as well. Maybe links and URLs we're pointing. Yeah, and so this is in response to my issues with the Linux Journal Mirror. Yes, but all of the tools are supposed to fix that. They're supposed to compensate for fixing links and stuff, and I just never got it to work for me. Cider is also the drink, but I think that's how CIDR. I think that's how we settled on saying it. I think other people say it different ways, maybe. Again, I don't think there's a right way to say an acronym that isn't really a word. So, I guess you just don't want to sound silly. Me not sounding silly is that's a stretch, but Rust. So I mean, Scott. First of all, mad respect for your learning to use Rust, but it is complicated. It's so specific. You cannot make any errors or it won't compile. And it's a lot of work. So I don't know anything about Rust programming, like the actual making the programs, other than it's very finicky. But that also means that, so it's funny with Rust, you have errors before it will compile. Whereas like with C programming, you can make compile a program and then after it's in service, realize it has like memory leaks or something goes wrong. So Rust stops you from shooting yourself in the foot before the fact. It's just hard to get it to compile from everything that I've, told and interviewed people about. So, from Wikipedia. Okay. So here's a true story about me. That doesn't help me. The pronunciation key, I don't really understand what those are. So I can't, when I go to like Wikipedia and it's like, it's pronounced like this and it like shows the phonetic spelling. I don't understand or maybe that's not even the word for it, but like I don't understand how to say that based on their stuff. So anyway, yes, Canopics. Sorry, I'm just catching up. I'm way behind. All right. See, this feels like a trick question, but I would say Lancaster, which I'm sure is wrong because otherwise you wouldn't have specifically asked me to say that one. But yeah, that looks like Lancaster to me, and I'm sure it's wrong. It's probably like Lancashire, but no, Dwayne, you're not across the pond. Now, if Mason asked me a question like that, I would worry that I had just said it completely wrong. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, I miss the Linux print magazines too, Stefan. Especially because I got to write one for a long time. Even after they were digital, it was still fun. But yeah. Hello, Lewis. Welcome. Dun, 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 dun. Linux Foundation. I don't remember what that even stands for. Certified System Administrator, maybe, or Red Hat Certified Sysadmin. My experience with the Linux Foundation testing is that the testing process itself was the worst I've ever experienced, but that's been a couple of years, so it's probably better now than it was. But it was a remote proctored test, so I had to have like the camera and like point it all over to show like nothing up my sleeve, nobody giving me answers or anything. It was just fine. But then the system itself would crash multiple times and I'd have to restart everything, log back in, and then the proctor who was watching me was like all suspicious that I was cheating when the proctor saw everything crash, which required me to restart. And the system they had, you couldn't use tab autocomplete on like the path names and stuff, and they were like long randomized path names, so you had to type in super long path names for commands, which was just completely unreasonable. And so I had really bad luck with the testing itself. And then Red Hat, if you're going for a job or something that is Red Hat based or that uses Red Hat, the Red Hat certification is very much more valuable. Even if it's not a job, I mean, the Red Hat certification is a highly respected and recognized thing. And the Linux Foundation itself, I have great love for. The testing experience I had a few years back was just abysmal. So hopefully it's gotten better. I was right about Lancaster. Cool. Way to go, Sean. I didn't even call anybody. I didn't even have to phone a friend or call the company. But then I get corrected here. Okay. So in Pennsylvania, it's Lancaster. Where's the emphasis? Do I have the emphasis on the wrong syllable? Or is it Lancaster? Or is it, yeah, now I'm just curious. I do not remember Win Linux. I don't. I remember, what was the thing where you could start Linux from Windows? Oh man, it had you would put it in it was a USB thing, and you would stick it in a Windows machine, and then you could start the installation process directly from Windows. Oh, it had a funny name. I cannot remember. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. So if anybody is a Patreon supporter and you got the digital welcome basket with all those videos, I did a video on it. And so it's one of those original Linux tech tip videos. I'm going to have to look it up because it's driving me nuts. There was this thing though, and you could start your Linux install from inside Windows, and it would probably just reboot or something. But anyway, lived in Australia, got local news. Okay, first syllable length. So Lancaster. Yeah, it still sounds funky to me, but I appreciate the knowledge. Is there I don't know how to say it. Is there a Lancaster in the U.S.? Yeah, it's probably a lot of our city names are taken from Europe, right? I mean, that's, it's just how it happened. I mean, New York, right? No, SysLinux is not what I was thinking of. Lindos sounds familiar. That isn't the thing I was thinking of. I think you're thinking of the bootloader Lilo, but no, that wasn't it either. Oh man, it's driving me nuts. All right, you ready? Okay, I think I have the digital welcome basket from Patreon right here. I should. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, come on, I made a backup of it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so go with Linux. No. Wait, was it Whoopi?
How many of you know somebody that says, I'm not going to try Linux because my neighbor tried Linux and his hard drive got to mangle up the process and install stuff.
It was Whoopi. Whoopi, that was it. Whoopi, do you want to see it? Let's see. I bet I can play a video. Local video. Whoopi. You're going to see young Sean here. Young Sean. Hopefully it should play, right? It should play. If you don't hear the audio when it starts, just holler at me, but I think you'll be able to hear it.
How many of you know somebody that says, I'm not going to try Linux because my neighbor tried Linux and his hard drive got completely formatted and Windows was gone? Yeah, well, I've heard that before. And today, I decided to install Windows and take one for the team. Thankfully, that's not where it ended. Let's check it out.
I did that stop motion myself.
What I'm looking at today is called Wooby or Wooby. It comes on the Ubuntu installation CD, and inside Windows it lets you install Ubuntu right on the hard drive. It doesn't repartition, it doesn't require any modifications to the hard drive. All it does is create a disk image inside the C drive, and it alters the boot menu a little bit, so when you boot up the computer you have the option to boot into Windows or into Ubuntu. We're going to look at the installation process right now, but I just wanted to let you know that this is a way that you can install Ubuntu. It's more than just a live CD. You actually install it, but you don't have to mangle up the hard drive at all. You can uninstall it when you're done, just like a regular Windows application. But let's look at how the process goes.
All right, here we have a regular install of Windows. I'll double click on the CD and you'll see here this menu. We're going to choose to install Linux, and you got a couple choices here. We're going to go English, B Gates for the username, put in a password, and the process goes along pretty smoothly as a Windows application. It starts to install the installer bits into a hard disk image on the drive, and then once you get all this installed, it's going to... Oh, uh-oh. No, just kidding. I'm just teasing. Anyway, it goes through the installer process and it puts stuff on the hard drive so that you can then reboot. And once you exit Windows XP. Ubuntu's a choice. We're going kind of quick here, but it'll boot up and it boots right into the Ubuntu installer. Now, it hasn't partitioned the drive at all. It's just put stuff on a disk image that it mounts as a loopback device. So it goes through rather familiar. There's some different things in here, but this is a rather familiar Ubuntu installation. It instead of partitioning the drive, it's actually just formatting like I said, a virtual drive container file inside the C drive in Windows. But once Ubuntu's installed, you don't really notice that. So anyway, it goes through the process, it installs stuff, it configures app. Again, this is just a regular Ubuntu install. The only difference is that it's not installing directly on a hard drive partition. So anyway, this is the installer. Goes along, installs all that stuff. I actually sped this up, but even sped up, it's a long process. Nonetheless, here we go. We reboot into a fancy dancy Ubuntu install. Again, never touching the hard drive at all.
So there you have it, Linux running on a Windows machine without ever touching the partition. For Windows users, it installs just like a regular Windows application. Now, some people think that's a bad thing. I don't know, you can be the judge whether it's a good or a bad thing. That Windows users might not realize that it's a complete different operating system, not just another application. The other bad thing is that you can't do hibernate to disk, so if that's a showstopper, then you may not want to try Wooby or Wooby. But nonetheless, it's an intriguing program, and it's one more way that we can work Linux into the Windows users' world. So check it out, woobyinstaller.org. Address is right here. And we'll see you next time at the Linux Journal Podcast.
This episode of the Linux Journal Podcast is brought to you by rose-colored glasses. Do blue screens of death get you feeling like this? Are you feeling down? Well, don't worry. With new rose-colored glasses, the whole world looks great. These new revolutionary space-age materials will make blue screens of death bother you no more. Your blue screens of death will now be purple screens of joy. With new rose-colored lenses, these glasses not only make you see wonderful, they make you look wonderful too. Actual levels of joy experienced may vary. Please use only as directed. Now available in purple for BOS users.
I'll never be blue again.
Wow. That was something. So if you ever wondered, like, has Sean always been a little off? Yep, he has always been a little off. Yeah, so that house burned down. The house with those curtains burned down. That was like probably circa 2008, and that house burned down in 2010. So yeah. Those curtains, I could have given them to you on a real deal. They would have been very smoky, but gosh, yeah, I do miss making all the silliness. I'd forgotten too. Every time I made a video for Linux Journal, it always ended with something silly like that. I really like doing it. Maybe I should do that again with videos because I really looked forward to that. There were a lot of cat things that happened at the end of videos too, like chasing around cats. Yeah, what happened to the house? So yeah, the house, it was it was weird. The house caught on fire, but it was closed, like it was an enclosed fire. It never broke through it, but the pressure inside the house was so great that it cracked windows inside the house, and you could see smoke that was like pushing through the walls between some of the plywood on the outside, like was like heating up the and discoloring the siding on the side of the house. So it was a really strange fire. By the time we got home, the fire itself was mostly out. We did lose everything in the house, so it was a total loss. The really sad part is we had animals. There were 4 dogs because my sister-in-law was living with us, and she had 2 dogs, and we had 2 dogs, and we had a cat, and we lost them all. That was the worst part. But yeah, the house itself was a total loss. Even though it was fully standing, it was a complete loss. Like the insurance company, there was no way to repair it because of all the damage that was done inside. So anyway, I am currently, so this is a sad story. I am 47 and I thought I was 46. I was having a conversation with my wife the other day and I came to the realization that I was a year off. So yeah, I'm 47. I'm going to be 48 in July. I don't feel that old, but that's how old I am. But I don't feel that old. But in my defense, apparently this is just like all the bad stuff that happened to Sean Day back in on March 2nd of 1999. So very, I mean, the anniversary was just a couple days ago. I had a car accident and my head went through the window and I had and still have total amnesia. I don't remember anything before March 2nd of 1999. So in my defense, I only remember like the last 24 years. And so that's, why I am as mature maybe as a 24-year-old. Maybe. So anyway, yeah. So that's my story. You've heard all my things now, right? I've had a car accident with total amnesia, had my house burned down. Let's see what else happened to Sean. That was really particularly bad. No, that's about it, I guess. Yeah, it was rough. Losing a year. I really thought I was 46, but I am really 47. I'll be 48. And I did the math. Sure enough, yeah. So, all right, I'm surrounded by people relatively close to me in age. So welcome, fellow people who are approximately the age where, regardless of what color your hair is, it starts to go away more and more. Oh no, this is yeah, I don't think you're a real person, but this restream chat, we will block you from restream chat. The person in Twitch, Shane, if you continue to join in Twitch, if there's a moderator feature there, talk to me after, because I'd love to have somebody in there to like moderate when things happen. This is the second time that we've gotten unwelcome chat and I've forgotten all about it. So hit me up if you're willing. I would love to have somebody in there to moderate. Yeah, so it's funny too. I don't, for a long time, we were hoping like I would remember stuff, right? I mean, like you want your memory back. Like I don't remember my childhood. Like you'd want to remember that. After a few years though, I'll be honest, I didn't necessarily want to remember because life was pretty good. And like, what if I forgot for a good reason? I mean, the reason was my head went through a window, but yeah, so I actually don't mind if I never, and at this point, I mean, I'm not going to remember. The longer it is since the incident, the less likely you are to remember stuff. And like I had an opportunity to speak with a professional hypnotist and I declined. I'm like, no, I'm good. If I don't need to remember. I know what happened enough. I mean, I have a whole lifetime, 24 years since. So I was 24 when it happened, and now this year I'll be 48. So, I had like another whole lifetime after that. I'm good with not remembering. So anyway. Can you guess the most common joke that I got over the past 24 years about not remembering? Yes, haha, I owe you money. Ha ha ha, I hadn't heard that before. Yeah, everybody. And it's always in good humor, but yeah, it's funny. That's what everybody goes to. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, there are. So, yeah, and from what I know, my childhood was not great. I mean, there were some great things about my childhood, but like my stepfather was not a great person, and I don't need to go into details there. But so not remembering some stuff is fine. But yeah, I'm good with right now. Yeah, we don't talk about previous wife. But okay, so I guess we're just going to talk about my car accident a little bit now, and it makes sense, right? I mean, the anniversary was just a couple days ago. So I had a 2-year-old daughter. She was almost two. My eldest was almost 2 years old, and that is sad. I don't remember the first 2 years of her life. But my wife was very pregnant with our second, and she had no idea if I would what she was going to get back, right? I mean, I didn't remember anything, so was I not going to want to be with her? Was I, it was terrifying for her. And then I had a terrible time recovering too. For about a year, a little under a year, I was agoraphobic, couldn't go outside. I had horrible migraines. I didn't sleep for a long time to the point where it started to make me kind of crazy. She was very pregnant, had to go back to work bussing tables because I couldn't do my job. Oh, it was a miserable time, but my wife is awesome. And no, I did not remember her. I didn't remember her at all. But thankfully, so when a lot of people have a closed head injury, their personality will change. Like sometimes drastically, sometimes a little, sometimes they're just not quite right or not quite themselves. Thankfully, after my closed head injury car accident, I'm the same person, like people who knew me before and know me after. My personality has not changed at all, which is just a real blessing. Well, or a curse, depending on if you like me or not. But so the good news is that I didn't remember her, but I fell instantly in love with my wife. We've been together, this whole time. We're still married. We had that baby she was pregnant with and another. We celebrated in November our 27th wedding anniversary. I think 22. Yes, 27th wedding anniversary was in November. So yeah, we've been together a long time, and things are going well. So anyway, and Lewis popped a link into the chat. That is, I wrote about it. Everybody wanted me to write a book, and some people still do want me to write a book / memoir about the accident and the recovery and stuff. But that's at least a glimpse as to what happened. So also on the blog, you can look. There's an embedded video, I think, of when our house after it burned, they literally had to tear it down because it was still standing, even though it was completely just ruined on the inside. The outside was still standing, and so they just took one of the big crunch, I don't know what they're called, the big scooper heavy equipment with not a crane, but the excavator or something. I don't know what they're called. I'm clearly not in the excavation business, but anyway, they just roar, and just like a big metal dinosaur was eating my the house. So yeah, it's interesting. Had lots of interesting things happen, I guess. Oh, thank you, Shane. Good people too. I wouldn't change anything because again, happily married for a long time, 3 great kids, 1 married, 1 engaged, 1 single as a Pringle, but doing well. So anyway. My ruined Wii. So yeah, I also had in the, was it a Wii? I don't know if it was it a Wii in there? When did Wii's come out? I know that I had a PlayStation 3, and they had when they first came out, the PlayStation 3, and it was the cheapest way to get a DVD, no, not DVD, Blu-ray player. Like you could buy Blu-ray players, but they were more expensive than a PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation 3 was also a PlayStation 3. And so I had just gotten that. It was a 52-inch flat screen TV, which for the time was enormous. I paid $3,300 for it because my brother-in-law had just gotten a sales job and we wanted to support him in his new job. And so we bought this really expensive TV and the PlayStation 3, and then it all burned down. So I've modded Wii's since then. I didn't remember like the timeline about when stuff worked out, but yeah, one of the most popular blog posts I ever wrote on my personal blog was, I think it was titled "Hack Your Wii, Be Like Me," and it was like a definitive guide for how to hack your Wii. Like soft mod it for a long time. It just got so many views, but anyway, yeah. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one. Single as a Pringle. That's her. That's how she describes herself. So, all right. So the Wii came out in 2006, and okay, then yeah. So Lewis is remembering correctly because I knew about the PlayStation 3 and apparently the Wii. And if I had the Wii, I certainly would have modded it. The way that I would have modded it would have been with the 007 game. That was one of the original ways that you could soft mod a Wii, was with the 007 game. There was a certain way you could create a save game and crash it, and then you could install stuff in it. So yeah, that was how they did that. Yeah, the GoldenEye game. Exactly. Yeah, Shane's exactly right. That was the game. And so like now, well, I mean, you can still do it now, but there was they found another thing where you could just use like a message, like a mail bomb thing, they called it, where you didn't need any game at all. But early on, you had to have that specific original disc, and people would borrow my game so they could hack their Wii. In fact, my student at the time, who's now a grown up and has a job in IT, I don't think he's watching, but he could be. He borrowed that game to hack a Wii and never gave it back. So yeah, I don't want it back now, for the record. But anyway, and what else was there? Now I don't know the timeline of when the original Xbox came out. Was that after? I assume that Mason was Googling and didn't just know off the top of his head. When did the Xbox come out? Pardon me. Oh, well, the original Xbox was 2001. Did I have an original Xbox too then? Because here's the deal. So the Xbox I got without any intention of playing any games on it. I got it specifically to run. It wasn't XBMC at the time. It was XBMP. So, which has now become Kodi, but it originally was Xbox Media Player, XBMP, and then it got renamed and rebranded to Xbox Media Center, XBMC, which is what it was for a very long time. And then they rebranded to Kodi. Probably Microsoft sued them or something. I don't know. But anyway, I bought the Xbox specifically for that. But with that one, I am pretty sure that one required a hard mod where I had to like solder something on the motherboard or short something out. I don't remember exactly what I had to do, but I remember being very, very worried because my soldering skills are on par with my flying through the sky unaided skills, meaning that I am not good at that at all. And so, yeah, I did mod that, but I probably had that earlier because otherwise I would still have the box, but I must have lost that in the fire too. So yeah, probably that was there as well. Now, I don't think you can, no, you can't see it from here, but just out of frame over there, I bought it a couple of years ago. I actually got it on eBay pre-modded. It's one of the original Xboxes. It's the Halo edition, like the green one. I don't know if you've seen the original Halo version. I could go get it, but I mean, it's an Xbox, but it's like a translucent green case. Anyway, it was pre-modded and it has I think a 1 terabyte hard drive inside, pre-modded, and it has all the Xbox games already on the hard drive. It's so cool. And I know it's like piracy and, or what, it's just not great, but it's just so cool. So yeah, the original Xbox, it has I bought it on eBay and great buy. It's just so cool. So anyway, okay, Mason, I collect them too. And here's the weird thing about me. I don't even play video games. I really never played video games apart from the original NES. I had a used original NES that I played games with, like my friend and I. He's super private, so I don't want to say his name or anything. But we used to play video games, or we used to play NES games. We'd rent one and then spend the whole weekend playing it. But that's really the only system that I ever really played often. But I like to collect them. I think I like to collect them now that I'm an adult because I didn't have them when I was younger. And so I feel like if I get them now, I'm reliving some past I never had. So it's really bizarre. So like, yeah, you can see behind me, there's an original NES. And to the left, underneath the Yoshi egg in my background, that is a Sega Genesis with the Crix Mega Drive cartridge. So it has all of it's like a loader cart. And so I have all the Genesis games. And then in the bottom shelf, you can't see, there's the Nintendo 64 with another Crix loader cart. And then what else do I have? I mean, I have a PS3, PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, the Scorpio edition. I do not have the Xbox Series or the PlayStation 5. I no longer had expendable money to buy stuff like that. So anyway, I never did get a Sega Master System. That is something I never did get. But the game Hang On, I played that at a friend's house, I think. Again, I don't remember, so I just go by like what people tell me. But anyway, yeah. Never had consoles in my early years. A lot of Nintendo consoles. Wii U, Switch, 3DS. Cool. So, I do. So I had what is all the handheld Game Boy stuff like got really complicated for me because like there's the DS, but then like I had one that was like two squares that folded up and like it would just like open and then, but it didn't have like two screens. It was like the top was a screen and the bottom was just controllers. I don't know if that was like I don't know if that was a DS or not. They really confused me at the time because like I also like I got a DS that like you open, maybe it's a 3DS is the next one up, whereas like there's two screens and like the 3D thing. Maybe that was the difference. But anyway, I had a loader cartridge for a DS and that was cool. Just a bunch of games on it. But again, I'm just not much of a gamer, so I really played that. Game Boy Advance SP. I don't even. There's so many of them. I lost track at one point. Like what was what? The DS. I thought it was a DS. It might have been a Game Boy Advance with just like the two squares and like just the controllers on the bottom. Yeah, I kind of lost track of which was what. So anyway, that's what. Howdy. If I remember correctly, this is Linux Guy. I have my Tux mug somewhere. Game Boy Advance. Okay, I'm going to click on this. Oh, maybe I can't click on the link from where I am. Oh, no, I don't want to block Lewis. That's okay. Stop. Okay. Maybe I can't click on the link from where I am. The limitations of Restream. Okay. Yep. Game Boy Advance. Yep. Lewis was absolutely right. That's the one that I had. The Game Boy Advance. And I had a loader cartridge for that. And so, I don't know what happened to that either, because that was kind of fun. I played that occasionally, not very often though. That's the one that you never played. Yeah. So I liked that because, it was color and I believe that one had the backlight. And so you could play it and it was like fun, but not so advanced. See, games got to the point where you couldn't just pick them up and play. At least I couldn't because I'm not great at video games. I really like the games where you could play for 10 minutes and have a good time and then stop playing. And Scott, the Atari 2600, again, yeah, you could pick it up and you could play. You didn't have to be good. You could be good. But even if you were not good, you could still play and have fun right away. But now, oh my goodness, like even the PlayStation 3 and like that generation started to get to the point where like I'm not good enough to have fun, and that's depressing. So yeah, I think that's why I like classic consoles quite a bit, and why I like emulation. I mean, I have built a lot of emulation boxes in my time too. Yes, Linux guy. All right, I remembered that I knew you as another name. So yeah, 10 to 20 minutes in a game and then put it down. Yeah, that's I think that's why they made games like Candy Crush. I think they're kind of geared at that generation. I played Candy Crush a lot. I'm not really into gaming on my phone. So let me drink this and I'll continue. So I don't game on my phone very often because if I have my phone in my hand, I tend to either do social media or research stuff. I really like to learn stuff. I'm just not great at gaming on my phone. I've tried because I thought, I like have a system here that's more powerful than, the space shuttle probably, but I just not really great at gaming. And so I haven't really found a game that I enjoy on the phone all that much. Like I said, I did Crush Candy for a while, but it just gets old too quick. Okay, Enemy Territory. Is that one of those games? Is this a phone game, first of all? And if so, is it one of the ones where you like build up a defense? Or no, I'm thinking tower defense. I don't know what I'm thinking. I did play one of those games for a while. They can be kind of fun. But yeah. Yeah, the Atari 2600 and the original NES, that's kind of my sweet spot for gaming systems. Like if I'm going to feel comfortable and a little bit of Super Nintendo, there are some Super Nintendo games that I like. For example, what is it? What's the one with the cars? It's not Star Fox. It's what's the one with the cars? Not the newer one with the cars. Not the Mario Kart. But before that, no, not. It was before that. It was like spacey cars, and I believe it was a Super Nintendo game. There was the blue car, like the yellow car, accelerated really fast but had slow top speed. The red car, oh my goodness, and that was like a spacey. Oh, I'll figure it out. I'll find it. F-Zero. Mason got it before I could. Yes, F-Zero. I think F-Zero was a Super Nintendo game. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Super Nintendo. That's a game that I enjoyed. I played that quite a bit. I think there was an F-Zero 2. I never played that one. But yeah, F-Zero was the game I was thinking of. And then I'm trying to think what other, okay. So my friend and I wish I remembered this, to be honest, but the same friend that I have to be really careful not to reveal too much information about him. But he's the one that had the Super Nintendo. I never had a Super Nintendo. But Mario Paint, I guess we spent a lot of time on Mario Paint coming up with really complicated animations and stuff, because you could have like a 9-panel animation, and you could just like spend a lot of time on those animations. And we did that. The music stuff was always difficult, I guess. And I tried to play with Mario Paint after a while, but the animation, I think, is what we spent the most of the time on, was making really intricate animations with Mario Paint. Yeah, it was a whole different kind of game. I saw a YouTube video, like a documentary about Mario Paint, and it was kind of fascinating. So, yeah, I have just always really sucked at video games in general. I'm much better at thinkers than others, but I just don't play much. I enjoy collecting and getting them working and like emulation and stuff. I just love it. I did again, you can see in the, like right above my green head there, that is an arcade MAME machine that I made that got me my first published article ever. That was so much fun because I didn't have a joystick interface, so I literally took apart a keyboard and had to figure out the X and Y coordinates on the little circuit board and figure out like which coordinates like meant like made what letter or number. And then when you were doing that, you couldn't have any that use the same rows or whatever. Like you couldn't have like so like X1, like the row X1, and then like Y1, Y2, Y3, Y4, Y5, like would be different letters. But you couldn't have two on the same of any row that you were using. Otherwise, when you press them both, they would like conflict and like it wouldn't send the proper thing. So it was this crazy like logic problem trying to figure out which I could use independently for all the controls for a 2-player MAME station with 2 joysticks, which are, four different, up, down, left, right. And then each one had 6 buttons as well. Plus, but I could have things like player 1 and player 2 could conflict with one of the buttons or the joystick positions because in the middle of a game, I wasn't going to be pressing player 1 or player 2. So it was a really fun, fascinating thing. So anyway, that was yeah, we went to a weird place there, but I really enjoyed the MAME stuff. Now you just buy they make these really simple joystick keyboard like interface things where you just connect them via USB and then you have all the different options for buttons and joystick positions. So it's super easy to do now, but back in my day, we had to rip apart a keyboard and do it. It was probably even, in fact, I'm almost certain it was a PS2 keyboard. It probably wasn't even a USB keyboard at the time because I was using an old system and it was probably a PS2 keyboard with that. So anyway, Tux Racer. That's the, yeah. Oh, I played Tux Racer too. Just like on a keyboard though. I didn't really have a controller for any of my Linux boxes. I'd love to be able to. So yeah, I'd love to be able to code games too. I think I would lose interest pretty quickly. I think if I was more of a gamer, I would like it. And they make like engines now that you can do some stuff with where you don't have to like do everything from scratch, which is nice. But I don't know that I have the patience for that. So do I mess with like the ESP32 and Arduino? Yes, a little. I have a bunch of stuff and I want to start doing more and more of that. In fact, Lewis has kind of been part of my inspiration there. He's quite the solder jockey. I don't know if that's a term. I probably just made that up. But like yesterday, yesterday I was really down on myself because I forgot to press record in the podcast on Friday, which I know seems silly, but I was just really down on myself. I put together an RF link thing using an Arduino and 433 megahertz transmitter and receiver, and flashed it and connected it to Home Assistant just to see if it would work. And it actually did. That's so my, now all of my 433 megahertz stuff is relying on RF link instead of my flashed Sonoff bridge. So yeah, that stuff interests me. I'm not good at it, but I do want to start making like some, remote, sensors, various things. Rather than buy a sensor, I actually do want to try making them with like an ESP32, which is one of the reasons I really want to buy, if I ever get my tax return back and I can justify it, I want to buy a 3D printer so I can make some enclosures and stuff for projects like that, like a water sensor, a humidity sensor for the basement, all that sort of a thing would be really fun. Yeah, Lewis, send us a link. We love stuff like that. Oops, that's not the one I meant to do. First beginner basic. Beginner all-purpose symbolic instruction code. What? So that just reminded me. Okay. I know we're running out of time, but one of my favorite books ever is The Martian. And I mean, the movie is great too. Like, really great movie. But The Martian book is still one of my favorite books ever. And during the original audio version was done by R.C. Bray. He's also one of my favorite audiobook narrators, but for some reason the license expired, so it had to be redone, and Will Wheaton redid it. And I don't know, I haven't listened to the Will Wheaton version. I'm sure it's fine, but the funny thing about the R.C. Bray version was originally during the book, the Mark Watney, the main character, the protagonist, is trying to figure out a way to communicate, and so he has to look up an ASCII table, and the narrator is not a nerd, did not know the word ASCII, and so he called it ASC2. And so in the original audiobook, he's like, talking as Mark Watney, who is a real nerd, is like, oh, I see so-and-so has an ASC2 chart in her stuff. And it took me, I'm like, an ASC2? And I'm thinking like ASC, like, is this, I don't know. And then it dawned on me, it was ASCII. And so there was actually a revision in the Audible version that R.C. Bray did, because when I listened to it again, I've listened to it multiple times, but when I listened to it again, he actually says ASCII. So they like dubbed it in properly. Probably they got a bunch of nerds that said, it's not ASC2, it's ASCII. Go! So anyway, that's just a fun little bit of trivia about the original audio version of The Martian. All right, let me try to, I have a, like I said, I can't click on links in Restream, but if I click on this, it is showing, yes, it is. Oh, a Nextcloud link. That's awesome. And then I think I can switch here. Can I switch? Yeah. All right. So, so did you do all the graphics here too? Cause this is kind of cool. That's actually really sweet. I like that. No, that's really nice. Well done. Very well done. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yes, so that worked. Yeah, I'd love a 3D. So that is true. They are slow. A lot of them have gotten cheap now. But it's all relative, right? Like the one I want. So I'll show you the one that I want. It's in my wish list here. I'm not saying wish list so somebody like goes out and buys it. It's my wish list because it's what I wish I had. Come on. Where is it? There you go. It's stuff Sean wants. Yeah. So here, I'll just share the link to the copy link. All right. So, yeah, don't judge me. There's lots of weird stuff in here that probably makes no sense to people. But the if you scroll down, there is the Ender 3 version 2 Neo. That's the one that I hope to get. It's like $320 US, and but there's the Ender 3, but then this is the Ender 3 version 2 Neo, the Neo part. So there's like some of the, like it has an all metal extruder, and I'll be honest, I don't know enough about 3D printers to understand all the nuances, but it had enough upgrades that my friend Kyle Rankin, who is a 3D printer like expert, he's had them since before most people had them. And I asked him, like, is it worth like the extra $50 to go like from the Ender 3 version 2 to the Ender 3 version 2 Neo? And he's like, yeah, I think so. And so that's the one that I hope to get. And I'm like all self-conscious. I'm looking through like, what else did I put in here? Yeah. So if you're scrolling through my list now, wondering what is going on. So the like the lights and the ESP Mini D1s, that is to make these. So one of these, this is the NFC reader. I bought one and I wanted to make them, so that's why those are there. Oh, and if you scroll down, you'll see the TP-Link Omega stuff. I know I'm just about out of time, but I'll just justifying why all these things are on my list. The next time I get Wi-Fi, which it might have to be sooner than later, I'm going to try to get the TP-Link Omega stuff just to see, because I've had such issues with the Unify access points just going offline or just not working suddenly. It's really frustrating. But let's see. Did I miss anything? 3 printer. Oh, you're very welcome, Lewis. I put the wrong one on. Whoops. This is the live stream one, Sean. Come on. Yeah, I apologize for the lack of podcast. Man, that took me off. I'm probably going to make a video because I did so much work on the podcast stuff that I'll probably still make a video and post it with the rest of the stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. Oh, you have mini D1s. Yeah. So, I do. I want to make some more stuff. So far, I haven't soldered. I just did like breadboard stuff. Oops. I just did breadboard stuff. And that's cool. I like the idea of a breadboard. So anyway. Oh, yeah. There's probably a Kool-Aid thing in there. I'm a big Kool-Aid fan. And a new soldering station. I wanted a better soldering machine. The indoor pizza oven. Yeah. Heat gun. I don't have a heat gun. Wire stripper. Oh my goodness, that Magewell capture card that works in Linux, that sucker, $900, right? And then the laser engraver, I want that. That Atari flashback. So I know I'm out of time, so I'll end with this. If you go down all the way to the bottom of that list, the Atari Flashback 8 Gold, it's way overpriced there. It's like $300. But the specifics about that one, it's HDMI, which not all the Atari flashbacks are HDMI. It has joysticks and paddle controllers, which is like the big thing. And then the games that it has on it is the reason that I specifically wanted that model. The newer ones don't have all the things. But anyway, that's what it is. So yeah, if I get that 3D printer, I'll probably talk about it a lot too. We'll see if it happens. But hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. I think this is the way we're going to do it from now on. I think this software is good. Would everybody agree that the video quality stayed good and the chat thing works pretty well? Yeah, I think we'll just go with this. I have, like I said, I have it for the rest of the year. We'll cross the bridge of whether I renew when the year comes to an end. But anyway, on that note, thanks everybody for tuning in. It was fun. Sorry there's no weekend assignment, but I just needed some time to just chill and chat with everybody. So I appreciate it. On that note, learn everything. Do what you love. Don't forget to press record when you do a podcast. And most importantly, be kind. I will see you next time. Now, I don't know how to end the stream here. That's like my thing, right? I don't know how to end stuff. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Okay, yes, I want to end.